vibration. Show the world what you got to give. Time to
Here we go. Welcome to Raise Your Vibration on Friday, July 3rd. Finally in July. It's going to be hopefully a little better month than June. And right in the middle of summer here, and raising our vibration, creating change in the world with music and inspiration as always every Friday. Today I've got two amazing guests. A great friend of mine, longtime friend who used to work at my healing center as a nutritionist. Gina Van Luven is here as a speaker today. Yeah, hi Gina. And Cerise Patron, who's been with us before. She's a fabulous musician with the angel voice. And she is here again. Lots of requests to have her back. So welcome, Cerise. And as always, we're here every Friday, like I said, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can please tell your guests or your friends and loved ones that we're here, and our community is here to help inspire and raise the vibration every week with music. Everyone who comes on here gives up their heart and their soul. It's all free, and they donate their time. And so thank you for all of our guests that we've had, and especially our two special ones today. So as always, we start out with music, and Cerise is here to start out with one of her fabulous songs. So take it away, Cerise.
Thank you. So I'm just going to let everybody on this call know that I guess Mercury in retrograde is doing its work and none of my tracks are working. So I'm going to sing everything a cappella today, unless I get it working in the beginning, but I promise it'll still be good. So this is a song I wrote called Open to Receive. And so I'm going to stand in the energy of being open to receive all the good because, you know, right now in the world, there's a whole lot that's not working the way we want it to. So this song goes, in times of fear, we often think the end is near. We're waiting for the shoe to drop. But what if we had faith that life would make a way when all seems lost? We're living with our fingers crossed, like it's all up to just our luck. But what if we believe that we have all we need? I'm open to receive, receive, receive. And yes, I do believe, believe, believe that all my good is mine, is mine, is mine. And everywhere I go, I'm living in the flow of love, of love, of love. I'm in the flow of love, of love, of love. When life seems small and every door becomes a wall, we've given all our strength away. But when we know our true power, the walls come crashing down. So I'm open to receive, receive, receive. And yes, I do believe, believe, believe that all my good is mine, is mine, is mine. And everywhere I go, I'm living in the flow of love, of love, of love. I'm in the flow of love, of love, of love. I'm in the flow of love, of love, of love. I'm in the flow of love.
So powerful. So powerful. Thank you, Cerise. Look forward to a couple more songs later, as well as a meditation that you're going to be leading at the end. So excited for that. I did forget to mention my co-host today. Oh my God, Claire. Sorry about that.
No problem. Love being here, Howard. Thank you for all you do.
Yeah, thank you for being here as always. So let's move on with our speaker today, Gina. I did mute you if you want to unmute yourself again and pop out here. And Gina, if you're there.
Yep, I sure am.
All right. So, boy, there's so much to say about you. You've got so many accolades. You've been a nutritionist for what, over 20 years now? At least 25 years?
It's been like officially like 17, but I was 17. Doing stuff before then. Yeah.
Okay. And an international speaker. You've written a couple books. I'd Rather Scrub Toilets Than Cook is one of your books. And Nutrition for Success, right? And you have, you train or you help people with high vibrational nutrition and do one-on-one consulting with that. And yeah, just powerful woman and a great friend. And I welcome you today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, we've known each other for a really long time. It's been a while, and we continue to bounce ideas off each other and keep in touch. And I love that. I love my Arizona peeps. Are you still in Arizona, by the way?
Well, yeah? Right now I'm actually in Long Beach, California, enjoying the weather. But yes, most of the time I'm in Phoenix, Scottsdale.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're outside. You're crazy.
It's nice and like 75 degrees out here. It's like perfect. So I'm enjoying it.
That's crazy vibrations if you're in Arizona.
Yeah, I can soak up the outside as much. Yeah, thanks for being here. Well, please share your knowledge with us today and what you have to teach us.
Yeah, and so just to remind your viewers and to share with the newcomers that vibrations are part of everything. I mean, everything vibrates, every object, whether it's a pencil or a car or a house, and of course, all living things, the plants, the trees, the animals, us, we vibrate at a specific frequency. And those frequencies can change, especially in the human realm, because our thoughts cause frequencies, our surroundings cause frequencies, what we expose ourselves to, what we listen to, what we see, what we read, and of course what we eat, which is what we're going to talk about today, and how to help to improve or change your vibration through what you eat. And you do that whether you recognize it or not. The food that you put in your body, you're either adding high vibration foods or you're adding low vibration foods. So if you can be cognizant of that, you can start to control the vibration. And when you're feeling in a low vibration, you can counter that with something that's a high vibration food, or listening to high vibration music and things like that as well. So can we dive right in?
Please, okay. Yes. Yeah.
All right. So the simple answer to this is eating whole foods, plant-based foods. Those are where you're going to get your high vibration food, but it becomes a little complicated. So that's what we're going to really kind of delve into, is how do you sort through some of the nuances of this, because you can look at a plant that you're eating and not realize that it may have lost some of its vibrancy. So we'll talk about how that happens, how it loses vibrancy. But really, as close to nature as possible would be your highest vibration food. So if you're fortunate enough to be able to grow your own organic garden, that is going to be your best bet, because you go and pick the food and you use the food. When you buy food at the grocery store, it's going to depend on where it came from. So me living in Utah right now, a lot of food comes from California. It's fairly close. Some things come from across the United States or even across the world. Like we get apples from New Zealand. Well, how long did it take those apples to get here? How long ago were they picked? A lot of times they pick them early. They put them into oxygen-free chambers, and they can be in there for a year to 2 years, and then they spray a ripening agent on it before they bring them out. There's a lot of crazy stuff happens in the food industry that we're not aware of. So being in a place where you know where your vegetables and fruit came from is a huge advantage. So when you can't go into your own backyard, then looking locally in your community, we're really fortunate here in Utah to have a lot of local growers. I live in Malaysia as well. I'm here for the summer, but in Malaysia after that, and then back for the holidays. And greens are abundant in Malaysia, and tropical fruits, and it's fantastic. And I tell you, I have the happiest belly in the world when I'm in Malaysia, because everything is very fresh and very nutrient dense. And that's where you're going to get a lot of vibration in your food, is as soon as it's picked. Because as soon as it's picked, it's still alive, but it starts to die, it starts to perish. And the farther away you get from that pick date, the lower the nutritive value and the lower the vibration of the food. Does that make sense so far? Okay, good head nod, thank you. Just making sure everybody can hear me. So if you look at the plethora of different types of fruits and vegetables that are out there, I like to focus on what I call the rainbow. And if you think of a rainbow, you're looking at a rainbow with all the different colors. Each one of those colors has a different vibration. And we need that full spectrum vibration. If you just only have red, 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 or blue, 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 or yellow, 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 you're going to get so much of that energy, it's going to throw you out of balance. And if you're familiar with chakras, if you're not, look that up, Chakras, did I spell that right? Chakras, about the chakras that are in your body that represent different colors as well. But you need that full spectrum of color, wearing different colors, having different colors around you, and seeing what you put into your body is having a rainbow of fruits and vegetables every single day if possible. But I try with people who have difficulty with that, at least getting them every couple of days. So looking at, blueberries and eggplants that are more of the purple and blue, even like white, like onions, for example, or daikon radish or something like that. But you can go through every single color of the rainbow and find a fruit and or a vegetable, usually both, that is that color and that spectrum. So really focusing on trying to get that array so you get a full balance of nutrients in your body and of that vibration in your body. So let's talk about what can kind of degrade that vibration. I mentioned going away from the picking date can degrade the vibration. I don't want to get into genetic modification because that can be very complicated, but I will say this, that if you think about how plants naturally genetically modify in nature, that's one thing. But when you take an animal DNA, like fly DNA or fish DNA, and then splice it with a fruit or a vegetable, there's something fundamentally wrong with that. So I'll just leave it at that, but I don't think you're going to have a full spectrum vibration from something that has two conflicting, that just wouldn't happen in nature. It messes up the vibration. So I'll leave it at that. But then looking at like pesticides that are synthetic, that are sprayed, that can degrade the vibration of the food and kind of snuff out that vibration. And yes, you can wash, which I always encourage, no matter where you get your food, to wash it. Who knows who's been handling or where it came from, if a deer peed on it in the forest or whatever. So you want to wash your fruits and vegetables. I even wash my eggs before I crack them open, because you might get bacteria from the egg as you crack it from the outside. I'm kind of weird with stuff like that. I don't mind germs, like viral germs. I just don't like E. coli. I have a problem with E. coli, so I always wash my stuff. So having clean food, you can wash the pesticide off, but pesticide is grown into the food because they spray it constantly through the growing process. So that can just kind of snuff out that vibration. So having organic, fresh food is where you're going to get your full vibration. Having said that, you can always bless your food. So whether you believe in a deity, or you believe in universal energy, or whatever it is that you believe, it's a vibration. Prayer or blessing or meditation, all that is an energy transference. So creating that within yourself and and projecting that onto your food can help to manage the vibration or any type of negative vibration in the food. Now, clearly there's still going to be a vibration in the food, but you can kind of try to match that to yourself. So sometimes, I go to restaurants around the world or whatever, I don't know what's in this stuff. I try to eat healthy when I go out. I'm pretty particular about that. But traveling in airports and airplanes, and sometimes you just, you don't know what you're going to get. So all you can do is that blessing and try to create that energy exchange with the vibration. And that makes me at least feel better, which changes my vibration and gives me the most benefit of that food. Does that make sense? All right. So do you have any questions for me regarding that before I get into animals, Howard?
No, actually, if you want to just keep on talking a little bit, then at the end we can open up for some
Have a
questions.
Q&A? Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's cool.
So before I get into animals, I want to address raw versus cooked food real quickly, because I get that question a lot. And raw versus cooked and whether or not you should have one or the other is very personal, and it's also seasonal. So having more raw vegetables in the summer and more cooked foods in the winter is kind of a general thing. And I don't want to get too complicated with all of this, and we'll have to save that for another talk. But generally speaking, raw food has more vibration in it. It has more enzymes, more nutrition. When you start to cook it, it starts to break that down. Having said that, your body may not be able to receive that if it's not slightly broken down. So if you work with a Chinese doctor, they will tell you always cook your food because of it. Again, there's different schools of thought, but if you at least slightly cook it, it starts to help to break that down while still keeping the vibrancy of the food, or at least most of it. When you cook the heck out of it, that's when you basically destroy the vibration. So you don't want to overcook your food. Okay. So now let's get into animals, because I know that's a big, huge topic for some people. And there's vegans, there's vegetarians, there's pescatarians and ovo-lactotarians and all kinds of tarians these days. I see a lot of carbitarians. They say they're vegetarians, but they only eat carbohydrates and not vegetables. And while grains are also higher vibration food because they came in the ground, oftentimes once they get processed, they go through manufacturing, it removes all that vibration and nutrition out of the food, and you have a very low vibration, low nutrition food that you're consuming. And again, we want to raise that vibration, so whole grains and things like that are better. When you get into processed foods, they often add a lot of chemicals and things like that as well. But with animals, really, it's all about how should an animal naturally be raised. So if you're going to choose to consume animal products, they need to have a good life. So I thought about printing out some pictures for you, but you can look them up on the internet. If you look up factory farming for cows, for pigs, for chickens, it's a horrific way for any living creature to live their life. And if you dig into the details about what they do on these farms, how they treat these animals, what the animals consume, it is very, very low vibration. So it's different to take a low vibration plant and a low vibration animal, because with a plant, they don't have the same type of neuro ecosystem that we have. An animal has feelings. All the energy of how that animal lived goes into you as soon as you consume it. So eating an animal that has lived a wonderful life and a quick death, that's the important thing. There is different ways of how they slaughter the animals, and that can make a huge difference in the last bit of energy that goes into the animal. Is fear the last thing, or is it, oh, I'm a happy cow, I'm a happy chicken, and they don't know where they're going. It's having a moral death, I think, is very, very important for the energetics and the vibration of the animal. But what they consume is very important. So if you look at, I see a lot like with eggs, they'll say, oh, vegetarian fed. Chickens are not vegetarians. They eat bugs and grubs and things from the ground. So supplementing with an organic grain feed is fine because they eat seeds and things like that as well. But if you want a healthy, fully vibrant chicken, you would eat one that would eat its natural sources and can run out in the land and the grass and all of that. So just paying attention, not so much to the marketing on these products, but reading about them and educating yourself. I think it's more important to educate yourself about animals if you eat them than with plants. And if I had a choice between, if I had a budget and I could only spend so much money, and it was between organic fruits and vegetables or naturally raised animals, I would choose the animals if I ate animals, because that, again, the energy of that is so much more important because of how they live their life. Does that make sense? Yeah. So here in Utah, we're really fortunate. We have a lot of land, and I know there's some in Arizona as well. Driving up north and such, they have a lot of huge plots of land where you can see cows roaming, and it just makes me so happy when I drive from Utah to Arizona and I see these huge grassy areas with cows roaming around, and I think, oh, those are happy cows and happy chickens and happy pigs and happy sheep, and there's no reason why we can't have animals like that as long as we're not over consuming. And I think that's a big problem in America in particular, is the overconsumption of animals, and we don't need to have that much animal protein. I'm primarily vegetarian. I still do eat a little bit of animal protein here and there, but it's very, very small amount. And as a rule of thumb, and what I tell my clients is that you would want to focus on a palm-sized portion of protein. So if you were to not have a thumb and not have fingers, just your palm and the thickness of the palm, that's it. That's about all the protein you should have, and then three meals a day. And then a handful of complex carbohydrates, so a whole grain, and then 2 handfuls of vegetables. So what you could go scoop into 2 hands, that should be the majority of your plate, would be the vegetables. And that's where you're going to get the most of your high vibration, is from those vegetables and from the grains, and from a good, healthy, happy animal, if that's what you choose to do. Does that make sense? Okay. The last thing, we talked a little bit about processed foods, and I don't want to say that everything in a box or a jar or a can or whatever is bad. It looks like a processed food, and technically it is, but it's all about the ingredients. So if you can make it in your kitchen, then it's kind of what I call like a hybrid processed food. Yes, somebody else made it, but if you take dates and nuts and apples and squash them all up and put them into a bar, that's okay. It's when you look at a label and there's all these weird technical ingredients and you're like, well, what the heck is that? I don't even know. That's where you get into the detrimental processed food that's going to be very low vibration type food. And often they don't have natural vitamins, natural nutrients in it. They add those things in, which is a lot cheaper than using the whole food. And then they market it as something healthy, and it's really not. There could be detrimental ingredients in there that are not so good for you. But something that's a whole food would be perfectly fine. Now, looking at milk, for example, I'm not a proponent of cow's milk. It's very highly different from human milk. Goat's milk is more like human milk. But past the age of like 5, we don't need to have the extra fat and things that come from milk. So I think it does more harm than good. And it's been marketed as, oh, we need our milk, we need our calcium. You can get calcium from plenty of other sources, from plants. I haven't drank milk in 20 years, and I have like strong, long fingernails. My hair is beautiful. It grows really fast. I mean, I don't have any bone issues, and I haven't had milk in many, many years. So, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole on milk in general, but my point is, if you think of like homogenation and pasteurization, that's destroying the vibration. So in most places, unfortunately, raw milk is illegal, which is just crazy to me. But there's some bootleg places that you can get raw milk if you're going to have it. But honestly, I just prefer nut milk. I do coconut milk or rice milk. You can do hemp milk, almond milk, cashew milk, macadamia nut milk. I'm probably missing some type of milk, but there's a bunch of different ones out there. And I don't really eat cereal anymore. Occasionally I'll have a little bit of granola or something like that because it's processed, low vibration food. So I just don't eat it. I eat leftovers from the night before or fresh vegetables and maybe an egg in the morning. Sometimes I have eggs, but I just do a lot of whole grains and vegetables is what I do. But going back to the idea of the bars, I'm going to spend some time on that just a little bit because I want to talk about sugar. So sugar is very prevalent in the world, not just the United States. And there are different types of sugar that are okay and then that are more high vibration and processed sugar that's low vibration. So I just want to make a point. And there's a lot of stuff now. It's like, oh, it has cane juice and cane sugar. It's still sugar, right? And it's just a fancier way of saying sugar. Sugar either comes from beets or it comes from cane sugar. Those are the two types of sugar that you'll see on the shelf. So you probably recognize the C&H pure cane sugar, right? Some of the sugars are made with beet sugar, so it's just looking at the difference, but that's all processed sugar that has had the nutrients removed, which means it's had its vibration removed. So it's a very low vibration sweetener. The best option would be like dates or apples or pears or something like that. When you have whole fruit that's chopped up with a bar, or even fruit juice would be better, even though like with fruit juice, you remove the fiber, which removes some of that vibration, but that's better than having a processed refined type sugar. So I hope that makes sense. They've recently changed the name of high fructose corn syrup, and I think it just says corn syrup, or I don't know. It's all very low vibration and there's no nutrients in it. If you get sugar in the raw, which might be named turbinado, and it looks kind of like a light brown sugar, that has all the nutritive value and even some fiber in there. Now, I don't think it's a good idea to have that all day, every day of your life, because that can cause problems with diabetes and things like that if you have too much sugar, even too much fruit. But it's a better option than white refined sugar. So when we bake, whenever we do any type of baking that requires sugar, we always use turbinado. But sometimes if the recipe allows for it, we'll use a fruit-based sweetener instead. You can use honey as well. You want to make sure you use raw honey. Again, the less the processed, the higher the vibration. That's the rule of thumb. And even when you buy a bar that's been sitting on the shelf, it's going to have a lower vibration than if you made it yourself. But I'm a bar person. I go buy a bunch of bars because when I'm traveling, I'm okay with that. And there's a particular brand that I like. I think it's EVO, and they're hemp bars, and a lot of different flavors, and I love those. But there's a bazillion different ones on the market. Again, just look at the ingredients and make sure that it's not a bunch of processed. It's just food ingredients that you can make in your kitchen, and then make your own trail mix. I do that all the time. I just buy some different types of nuts and maybe some dried cranberries. Again, now see, I get that one sweetened with apple juice. I get the cranberries that are sweetened with apple juice versus sugar, and just make my own little nut and seed mix, put it in one of those little reusable baggies, and I take it when I travel. It's easy peasy. Now, if you are not used to eating healthy food, I know for me, I ate healthy when I was a little girl because my mom gardened and my grandparents, my grandmothers gardened, and they would sit in the kitchen and can and jar, and I have such fond memories of that. And then my parents were divorced when I was like 6. So after that, my mom had to get a job and care for 2 children on her own. We started eating processed foods. And I remember I used to take a piece of white bread and I'd put butter on it, and then I'd pour some white sugar on there, and then I would eat that. And that was just like the most amazing thing. And now that would just completely disgust me if I had that now. But I ate a lot of processed sugar. The little Vienna sausage, I ate raw hot dogs, bologna. I mean, it was terrible. Mac and cheese, of course, it was terrible. And then when I got into my cheese for a while.
I think we're losing a little signal with you, Gina. All right. Has everyone else lost their signal too with her? Okay.
Yeah,
What? Let me move. Are you getting a signal problem?
Yeah, it's going in and out.
can't
There you
hear
are. You're back now.
Can't hear you, Gina.
Here, let me go. And sometimes I get problems in that room. Okay. So where did you lose me?
At the hot dogs.
Oh, okay.
All right, you're still stuck a little
Back in
bit
the
there.
day. So
Yes.
give me a thumbs up if you can hear me now.
Can hear you.
Because you're
your
stuck.
video-
I can't hear you, so I'm going to keep talking. Hopefully you can hear me. Yeah, hang on a second. Can you hear me okay? Perfect. Okay. All right. Now I can see you were stuck. Anyway, so yeah, I had a terrible diet growing up, and in my, I guess it was my early 30s, I had a lot of health issues, started going to acupuncture, started changing my diet. And within 3 months, I was off my asthma inhaler. Within a year, like pretty much all the health issues I had, other than my digestive stuff, that took a little bit longer. All health was myself, and then my it's all, and it was important to me, and I did it over time, but it can be a really difficult challenge to make those changes. And I am the first one to admit how challenging that can be. And so that's what I do now in health coaching, is help people go from more sick and diseased or standard American diet to healthy, happy, and high vibration, and just feeling like you have a wonderful life, which I am so very grateful. And despite with the current issues going on and everything, I am a very happy, healthy person, and I control that. I know that. And do things to raise your vibration through your food, through what you listen to what you watch. All of that can help tremendously in times like this.
Excellent. Thanks, Gina. So still going a little bit in and out, but we're going to see if we can open up the lines for some questions or comments if anyone wants to jump out here and say anything. Debbie, want to unmute yourself?
Hey,
All right, there you are.
I'm loving this, Gina. Thank you so much, because right now one of the things that I am doing during this time is what I've talked about for years and not done, and that is focusing on a vibrant diet. And so this is like so perfect. It's like a perfect gift for me. And planning the menus and doing all the things you're talking about. The only thing that wasn't mentioned, at least I didn't hear it, because my computer took over for a while. Once in a while it cancels me out and I have to come back, and it just totally blanked me out. I didn't hear anything about fats. And a lot of the things I'm reading and hearing say that healthy fats, but you gave the portions of the 3, but you didn't mention fats. Where does that come in?
That's a great one, and that can get kind of complicated, so I'll try to keep it simple. That is rid of on the outside of our cells.
Cutting out.
Without, I'm cutting out.
For me.
Yeah,
Let's
you're
see if I
cutting
can
in.
move to a different spot.
All right.
How's this? Can you hear me now?
Can hear you, but your video's stuck.
Oh, you're in here. Can you hear me now?
can
Yes.
hear, but not your
I'm having
video.
problems.
Yeah. You know
Hold on a
what?
second. Are you doing your internet stuff?
Hey, Gina,
Yeah.
it might be good to come back with you and have Cerise do a couple songs and then come back and have you answer some questions. Is that cool? See if you
Yep,
can
that
fix
sounds
that.
good.
All right. Cool. Thank you. So, Cerise, please rescue us. Thank you.
Okay, so this song, still there's no track for it. That's okay. So this song I wrote, I was having a particularly good day, but I was sitting at the ocean thinking of days that I had had that were hard. So this is about the ebb and flow of life, and it's called Life is Beautiful. Glory to light in the highest. Glory to all life in its many perfect forms. And I love the way that each perfect day comes to an end and then begins again. Glory to the love that enfolds us, ever rising up to spread across the world. And I'm grateful for this. Every mark that I miss will find a way, and it will be okay. Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. Glory to the truth that's within us, ever steady through the changing of the tides. And I love to know everywhere that I go, I'm not alone. I'm never alone. 'Cause life is beautiful. 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 Life is so beautiful. Life is beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Your voice is beautiful. Thank you. Actually, Cerise, if you're cool with it, we'll have Gina come on again and then we'll come back to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's perfect.
All right. Thank you. Gina? You there? You want to unmute?
Yeah.
All
Okay,
right,
so
cool.
can you hear me okay now?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Yeah, sorry about that. Living in the mountains, you know, that's just the way it is. The wind must have been blowing or something. I don't know. Okay, so to respond to the question about fats, I said that it's a little bit complicated, but I was saying that it's very important to understand that fat is critical. Water, nutrition, but fats is like right up there. In fact, probably more important than just your basic nutrients, because there's a fat coating on the outside of your cells, and it's about roughly half and half saturated and half unsaturated fat, and that's what provides the communication mechanism between cells. And so if you have too much of one or the other, it can cause problems. So this whole idea of like, oh, saturated fat is bad, the saturated fat is bad, is absolutely not true. Your body needs saturated fat. You just don't want to have those two things out of balance. And especially in the American diet, they tend to get more of the unsaturated fats than the saturated. So it's not that they're unhealthy necessarily, but that there can be unhealthy types of saturated fat. So I was talking about animals earlier, and let's take cows, for example, and hamburgers, right? It's a big thing in America is hamburgers. And having a grass-fed hamburger and a cattle-fed or a grain-fed hamburger is very, very different in how your body is going to process that. And the amount of fats, the types of fats that are in each of those is a good example. So when they went through this whole fat-free thing, they replaced it with sugar and salt, both refined, that are unhealthy. So that was hugely detrimental, I think, to us as a society. And now they're kind of swinging back the other direction. So you don't want to avoid fat. You just want to make sure you're getting healthy versions of the right type of fat. So we talked about the processed foods and reading labels. And when you see like the hydrogenated or the partially hydrogenated, that is a frankenfat, is what I call it. Or if you take, so what hydrogenated oil is, it's a vegetable oil, which is supposed to be healthy, right? A vegetable oil. And then they hydrogenate it and it makes it into something that's unhealthy. You can do that in your own kitchen, not hydrogenation, but you can spoil an oil by overcooking it. So olive oil, for example, if you hit the flash point where it starts smoking, or the smoke point, that's when it becomes unhealthy. So you basically, if you hit that flash point or that smoke point, you need to wipe out the pan and start over again, because now you've created an unhealthy oil. So I actually, in my program, I have this whole thing on fats, and you can look up the smoke point of oils. And if you're using something that has a higher smoke point, like avocado oil, walnut oil, coconut oil, you're not going to see that smoke come at a higher heat if you need a higher heat. Oils like sesame oil and some of the more delicate oils, the monounsaturated oils, they need to be added on after. So you would cook something, and if you want to add a certain flavoring of an oil, you would add that on, drizzle it on after, just like you would as if you were to drizzle olive oil on a salad. Let me see what else I could say about fats. Nuts, seeds, avocados, that's your food-based fat. You can use different types of oils like coconut, olive oil, avocado oil, just making sure that they're not refined. You want them in an unrefined whole form. Again, as close to nature as possible is how you want to get it. Always getting your oils in a glass jar, never in plastic, because fat takes toxins out of the plastic. So whatever's in the plastic is now going to be in the oil, which is now going to be in you, which is not healthy. So always in a dark glass jar. And I think those are kind of the main points I would say about fats. Any other questions about fats or anything else?
Yeah, one more question. Is there percentages? Because some of the plans, the plant-based plans, mention percentages per meal, that certain fats are, you're supposed to include fat as a percentage of a meal.
I'm really a huge proponent of, other than, so were you present when I showed the hand and how much you should eat?
Yes.
So I'm a huge proponent of that and varying your diet. If you're varying your diet and you're eating things that do have fat in it, like meat obviously has some fat in it, which meat doesn't contain fiber, very important point to make. But if you're getting fish or whatever, and you're using some oils and you're eating avocados and nuts and seeds, you won't ever have to worry about that. So if you learn to eat like we're supposed to eat, you'll never have to count calories. You'll never have to, other than, you know, the hands, you always have your hand. And when we're doing special things or we're going out to a restaurant, I pay attention to that. And like, for example, if I look around me and I see that there's these gigantic meals and I know I'm going to get a gigantic meal, I might decide to split with somebody instead, or I'll ask for a to-go box immediately and have them bring it, and I portion it out, because I'm just as human as everybody else. I'll try to eat everything on my plate. It's just, it's in our DNA, right? We'll just keep eating and eating and eating. And then finally you're like, oh God, I can't eat anymore, you know? And that's just a terrible feeling. So I'll ask for a to-go box immediately and portion it out based on my hand. And I always have a hand with me.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Gina. So we'll do one more question or a comment if anyone has anything. I'm just going to ask something, Gina. So what about stevia? Do you have any thoughts of stevia for a sweetener? Is that healthy for us?
Yeah. So I think stevia is a good option, again, as long as it's as close to nature as possible. And with any good thing, the manufacturing companies can make it a bad thing, right? So the drops, the tinctures, is just making sure that they're in pure form are good. The powdered form is fine as long as it's not, there's not other additives in it. And I encourage people to look into the company and go look at the ingredients on it. But I prefer the tincture, the drops. I think it's better. I personally don't tolerate stevia very well. It doesn't sit well with me, but other people have had great success with it. But I say, just like with anything, use it in moderation. I mean, if you're always having to sweeten what are you sweetening? If it's oatmeal, I don't put anything in my oatmeal other than dates, and actually I think that's it. Dates and like sometimes cranberry. I don't even eat oatmeal hardly anymore at all. But if I do, I use fruit to sweeten it. I don't sweeten my tea. If you sweeten it, I'd probably use honey over stevia. But that's just me personally, because I like the nutrition and that I get from the honey. But I don't sweeten my tea either. I have coffee occasionally, and I use raw sugar in it. My mom uses coconut sugar. And yeah, that's as long as you're not overdoing it. But if you need that regular consumption of sweet, that's where I think like, well, maybe we could work together and try to find why you're constantly needing that sweet. My sweet is my dark chocolate at night. That's about as much sweet as I get.
You gotta love chocolate for sure. So, all right. So how can the guests here get a hold of you? And do you do one-on-one consultations online or over the phone, or do you have groups?
Usually I do one-on-one consults over the phone. I did mention I live in Malaysia. I am working with some clients now while I'm here. And when I'm over there, it's a 14 to 15 hour time difference depending on where you are. So it becomes a little bit challenging. But I also have an online program for people that would prefer the do-it-yourself approach, or maybe they don't have the budget to work with me. So it offers a cost-effective plan. It's $99 and then $29 a month, and you just have there's no like you have to 1 year. You can cancel at any time, and it's a video-based program. So it's what I used to do in a classroom setting. So I used to teach classes in a group setting, and so it's just taking that information and putting it in video format and providing follow-ups. So it's like, okay, here's your actions, go do these actions. Here's your follow-up, and then you go to a next module, and so on and so forth. So I'm happy to offer your listeners a discount if you want me to. Would that be?
That'd be great.
Okay. So the normally $99, the first payment would be $50 off. So it'd be $49 for the first payment. And then, like I said, you could cancel. You could literally have the whole program for $49 if you wanted to cancel the next month and go through them all in 1 month real quickly. Because usually I do a 6-week to 12-week program anyway. And so if you go to ginavanluven.com, that's GINAV like Victor, A, N like Nancy, Luv, like Victor, E like Edward, N like Nancy. It's in the comments. It looks like Van Luven, Gina Van Luven, but it's vanluven.com, and go to the shop. I have total mind and body transformation program there, and they can go look that up and get all the information about it. And feel free to send me a text or an email. There's a contact button on there if you have any questions about anything. And if you feel like you need personal coaching, I'm happy to do a complimentary session just to see where you're at, see if I could possibly help you, and we could go from there.
Awesome, Gina. Thanks again. I'll definitely look into your website and have anyone else please go check out Gina's stuff. And thanks for taking the time out to be here. And always good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right. Gina's information will be on the website too, which I put in the chat box. All the presenters that we've had over the past few months, all their information, websites, and everything is in the website. So check that out. All right, we're gonna end up with Cerise here. And Cerise, if you could do another song, that'd be awesome. And then end up with your meditation.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
for this song, the track is working, so I'm gonna push play. I wrote this song in May about the COVID shutdown. So this really is a lot about raising our vibration so that we can raise the vibration of the world while this shift is happening. On the surface, everyone is angry and afraid. Everything and nothing happening from day to day. And the future is unknown. Our faith put to the test. How can we see beyond all the pain and distress? So we are called to be the light of love right here. We are led to see the shift that has begun, so we can thrive together, shine together, and rise together. It is ours to decide who we become. Everywhere we look, we see life change in many ways. Learning to release the fear and ride atop the waves. And when we feel like we could drown, our doubts are magnified. But can we reach for higher ground so humanity can fly? Oh, we are called to be the light of love right here. We are led to see the shift that has begun, so we can thrive together, shine together, and rise together. It is ours to decide who we become. Oh, we can never go back to the life of yesterday, but we can rise even higher. We can be part of the change. Oh, we are called to be the light of love right here. We are led to see the shift that has begun, so we can thrive together, shine together, and rise together. It is ours to decide who we become. Oh, we can thrive together, shine together, and rise together. It is ours to decide who we become. It is ours to decide who we become. Oh, it is ours to decide who we become.
Beautiful.
Such a blessing.
Wow. Really
Thanks.
beautiful.
Thank you, thank you. So, with that level of vibration, I would love, if it feels comfortable, for you to close your eyes. I'm going to, since this is working, put on some soft music in the background. And as we touch in, as we touch into that place that's deep within us, that the vibration is there, the vibration is ready to rise, the light that is within us, not an outside source, but the source within us where the truth is, because it is deep within us and we can go inside of ourselves to find it. And as we touch down into that place, the core of our very being, the light of who we truly are, I would love for you to imagine that you are sitting in the woods. There are beautiful trees surrounding you, and you can hear birds chirping in the distance. This is a safe and loving place where nothing bad can happen to you. The sun is shining and it's coming through in rays scattered through the clouds and through the trees. The day is warm and there's a soft breeze that blows on your face as it passes by. And as you sit in this place, completely content with what's around you, you see a group of wild horses playfully running by. They frolic in the meadow just ahead of you and play happily. You get the urge to run with them. But as you stand up to walk over, you realize that you are tethered by a rope to a nearby boulder. It's attached to your ankle on one side and wrapped around the boulder on the other. You try to pull the rope off the boulder, but it doesn't come loose. As much as you want to run free with the horses, that rope is strong and feels unbreakable. You decide to look more closely at the boulder to see if you can get the rope off of it, and you notice that words start to appear. Words like unworthiness, fear, not good enough, not strong enough, unlovable, separate, powerless, and broken. These are words that many of us learned years ago, but they come up strongly again now in times like these, and they can surround our thoughts as if they are hidden deep down within us. So as we ponder being stuck to this boulder, we start to feel droplets of rain. Drip, drip, drip. They start to fall faster and faster until there is a steady rain coming down. You watch it fall in the meadow and the horses are unaffected. You continue to want to run with them, and you look at this boulder, and the words, instead of washing away, are strong and pronounced. And you realize in this moment that you have been attached to this boulder for a very long time, possibly pulling it along for ages until it's so big that now it cannot be moved. And if something isn't done, we could continue to sit here with this boulder watching our life continue around us forever. And at that moment, at this moment, we decide this boulder no longer can come with us. And as we make that choice, we feel the rope around our ankle budge just slightly. And with the rain falling, we stand firmly in the knowing that it's time to release this. It is time to stop dragging the weight of these words along with us everywhere we go. And the stronger that feeling gets, the looser the rope becomes, until it falls right off of our ankle. And as it does, we run with wild abandon toward the horses. We frolic in the field, and freedom and light fills us. We can feel the joy that is our birthright. We can feel the sun coming out again and the clouds shifting. We see this beautiful meadow as the place we can finally run free, without all of the lies of our past holding us back. And there may be a storm still in the distance, and it may come and it may go, as life always does. But we can always come back to this field of awareness. That as that storm rages and as the rain falls, we do not have to be attached to the pain. We can be there with it falling on us, but come standing from a place of the truth of who we really are. And as we stand here in the light of ourselves in this meadow, others are drawn to our light. As our vibration rises, the vibration of everyone that we come into contact cannot help but be nurtured into rising itself. And as our vibration is going up, the vibration of everyone is rising. And true healing, true freedom comes forth in this place, in the place of honest, true light. And so we stand in this meadow knowing that we can come back to this place whenever we want. And if we ever look down and see that boulder attached to our ankle, we know how to release it and leave it where it belongs, behind us, as we step forward into the truth of who we are, into our risen vibration, into our highest good, into our highest selves, into our highest love. And we go forward in life at that point, from that space. As we breathe and we allow whatever in this meditation that resonates with our soul to be there and to do its work, and whatever doesn't, to wash away. We breathe in the knowing that there is something greater on the other side of shift. And slowly we come back into the room we are in and into this space, bringing with us whatever good we got from this meditation and from these words. as I count backwards from 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. We wiggle our fingers and toes. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Namaste.
Namaste, Cerise.
That was beautiful. Very, very centering and empowering. Thank you.
Thank you for your presence and your light, for being here, Cerise. And did you want to talk anything about your tours?
Well, I can. So I have these lovely, beautiful tours to South America that I offer, and I write original songs for those, and we go to Machu Picchu, and we go to the rainforest in Peru, and obviously right now we're sort of in the holding pattern as to when we're going to get to do that again. But I will, on my website, I'll always have updates and when that is safe to do again. If anyone wants to come along, we offer these 10-day spiritual experiences, traveling Peru and going to the sacred sites and getting in touch with Mother Earth and the land. And I can honestly say that every tour I do, I come back changed. And so does everyone who attends. So if you'd like more information, I put my information in the chat, my website, and you can always find me on Facebook too. And we can talk more about that in the future after the great shift has shifted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah.
Definitely. I've always wanted to go to Machu Picchu, and it sounds amazing, especially with you singing the whole time. I mean,
Singing and leading meditations on Machu Picchu. There we go.
I mean, how better can you get? So thank you again, Cerise, for being here. Thank you, Gina, again, giving your time and your heart and your soul. Always thanks. And everyone who's here as a guest, love you, appreciate you. Please share this community with others. Let them know every Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. We're here. The website, I put it in the chat, but just in case you don't have it, raiseyourvibrationevent.com has all the replays. You can send people there.
Who do we have next week?
Next week, just about to say that, Claire. Actually, Claire, if you want to say something about musicians, we're looking for more musicians. So
yeah,
Claire is
through your beautiful networks and the people that you know in your life, if you have anyone that would like to share the glory of their song and upliftment through music, we'd love to have them contact us. I put it in the chat. Just reach out to lukeandclairemusic@gmail.com, and then we'll be happy to see what they do and possibly schedule them into the programs. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and who do we have next week? I think we have Luke and Claire playing music. So they'll be our guest musicians next week again. It's always great to have them on and sharing their original songs with us. They wrote the theme for Raise Your Vibration, which is awesome. So look forward to having them. And Jeff Fagan is going to be speaking. And Jeff Fagan has a background in money, finance, and prosperity. And he has a group in Phoenix called the 2% Group. And I try to diversify things here and have, nutrition and talking about energy work. And this next week's going to be talking about money and vibration, energy, and prosperity. So it should be really good. Jeff spoke at our first Raise Your Vibration event, and he was phenomenal. So look forward to having him. So hopefully all of you will be there and share with others. And have a great week. Raise your vibration. Enjoy. Make sure you share your light with the world, and see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Howard, Gina, Cerise. Thank you all for coming.
Raise your vibration. Show the world